Travis Wayne Goodsell. The Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith are true. I unfortunately have to say this in every single video, because I don't, because my Mormon audience thinks I'm an antichrist, anti-Mormon, antichrist, apostate, Korihor, order of Nehor. Yet again, I repeat, the Book of Mormon is true. Joseph Smith is true. I am born and raised in the Covenant Mormon. The Book of Mormon is true. Joseph Smith is true. Yet without fail, Mormons will rush to judgment and justify committing crimes, hate crimes against me, one of their own, who knows that the Book of Mormon is true, that Joseph Smith is true. Now, this then will trigger Exfo and Nevermose to likewise call me a science denialist, fake news, deceived by the cult of Mormonism, that I just don't know, and I need to go to their channel because they got the truth. Over 8.8K videos over these 10 years of the latter days about how the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith are true. So I don't have time to do side conversations that I always go off onto, like right now. I am doing a special video presentation for you guys. Mostly because I want to know. This has been too long for me, having everybody against me and nobody wants to believe. And yet, everything has happened. Like I said, the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith are true. So if you're new, you'll have to excuse the brevity of this video content. I can't go into detail. I'm just going to cover over how everything is true. And if you are going to refuse to study it so that you can have plausible deniability for denialism, that's on you. Already with my Emmanuel video, 2 thumbs down by Mormons who are hate criminals. So it's unclear as to whether I'm going to get to the little news that there was that I caught this evening. I'm still being cyber terrorized through David Todd Christofferson, who loves to falsely accuse so that he can justify committing crimes. So we take you back in time. Crap. It's on the file. I didn't transfer it over before this video. I'm going to risk getting cyber terrorized with a freeze of the camera to get the factual information for you. Faust. Okay. And then we need Eclipses 2007. Time and date. Okay. And then we need Gordon B. Hinckley. We could use time and date, right? Well, I'd have to type it in, but no, it's just, since I'm online and I'm not frozen, right? Eclipses 2008. And there's the other one. I had too many pictures. I didn't want to have it listed. Wanted to keep so that I can see them. This is a visionary discussion that we're having here. Okay. Good. I'm not frozen. So now we can minimize the screen to half of it. Got my education. I know all about this. I chose to become who I became, which is the foremost anthropologist of the ancient Middle East. That is my specialty, that is my turf, that is my court. I got game. I did the work, I produced the results, just like the scriptures told me to do so. And so I learned about signs in the heavens and how the ancients interpreted them. With my knowledge of the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith, extra exclusive knowledge that nobody else in the world has. And so I learned about solar eclipses and lunar eclipses. I'm actually the one who pioneered the lunar eclipses part. Solar eclipses, there was an Assyrian king in the records who went to war, and there's a solar eclipse that happened and comedy ensued. We're not going to talk about it again. But that knowledge, I then ran the test. You know, science. It's also in the scriptures, even in the Bible. Run the test. The seed will always produce the fruit after its design. You can't know the design until you produce the fruit in the flesh. That is science. So knowing this, Faust dies on the 10th of August, 2007. So oh, wow, lunar eclipse. And I can't, oh man, I can't show you where it was located in the heavens. Because it was really cool because they flip on each other. So September 11th, 9/11 was when the partial solar eclipse was. 1 month after Faust dies. That's the solar part. August 28th was when the lunar eclipse happened. Okay? God, oh my hell. I really need those. Really need them. Really need them. I gotta put it in the video, and I don't want this to be long. Because if it's long, I don't know when I'm going to get it up, and I really, God. Do I dare stop the video? Is it this important? Yes. So it's so nice not to be cyber terrorized with the freezing of the camera. But it's also vital that all of the evidence be gathered. That you then look for patterns, and you'll find anomalies, and then you need to develop a theory to run the test to explain the anomalies, and get 3 confirmations to establish a fact. So, Faust. 10th of August, he's dead. In retrospect, because this was way back in 2007, didn't have access to Urim and Thummim yet. D. Todd Christofferson didn't attack me with a major false accusation paid for by everybody. And that's why all of this is going on, by the way. There is backstory that I am not repeating in this video, because I am repeating that I'm not repeating it. And so I ran the test. There's just one. Okay? Need more. Because now I gotta toggle between pictures. On the 28th of August, there was a total lunar eclipse. And so being made aware of it from the news, and knowing of Faust's death, my education was exclusive to question, oh, is this going to be a pattern? I didn't have access to any of the tools necessary to do the research at that time. I just, oh, okay, interesting. Lunar eclipse, death of a religious leader, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, to be specific. The member of the First Presidency. And so when going over the sign in the heavens for the lunar eclipse, this is where I noticed patterns. It's in the High Priest symbol constellation of Aquarius. Right there at the right inner thigh, where there's a falling star, the Southern Aquariids. Cool. So because it's lunar, the sun is clear across the constellation zodiac in Leo. Keep that tab. So then we go to September 11th, a common number and date in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Again, we're not repeating this information. And it's more than the Mountain Meadows Massacre. Those of you who've been following me know about the start of the Book of Mormon and the coming forth of it, 1826. So this was down in Argentina, where this occurred. If the window's open, we're going to have problems. I didn't see in the news about the raid that took place upstairs. 6 cops and then backups showed up. Holy crap, what happened? I mean, did they forge a parking pass? I got email today about that. So, Leo. is where the 9/11 solar eclipse happened in 2007 for Faust. And it's in between, so it's at the feet of Leo, but on the head of Virgo. The church. Shouldn't have to keep repeating information. Nevertheless, I do. And this I found also interesting, is that it's Saturn there in Leo, as he's near the star Regulus, the king star, Leo. Do I have to repeat information? Yes. We're not. Faust of the first presidency by the king star on the crown of the church, Virgo. Leo, for Judah, phonetically the same as Utah. Seeing how cool this is, that I'm not explaining it? Okay. So, then we have what was surprising for me, Hinckley dying. And again, lunar eclipse. The solar eclipse was not announced on the news because it was down in Antarctica. And so it was just a lunar eclipse that I was noticing. Religious leaders moon for religion. Eclipses, death, fall, destruction. So the solar eclipse, gotta get his birthday. Oh, wrote it down. I'm off the internet, by the way. Died on the 27th of January 2008. I've posted him before because he's part of the curse of Joseph Smith for all who betrayed him and the successors. Ever wonder what happened to those who were involved in the assassination of Joseph Smith? Everybody else gets it wrong. They were acquitted. They're innocent. The wrong people. Try the ones who were in the room when he died. Talk to them. They contradict their own testimonies. And each other's. So, February 7th, 2008. Annular. Okay. And so Argentina was the closest that I could get to it. And so it's a partial shown here rather than the annular that it was. But it's at the tail of the goat beast. Fun. And then the lunar, February 21st. Total. And this one is really cool because it involves both Leo and Virgo. So, yep, it's in Leo, which means the sun is in Aquarius this time. They flipped it for the lunar. The moon is there by Regulus. He's the president of the church. The total lunar eclipse in Leo, Utah, on the crown of the church at the star Regulus. And Saturn, of course, is still there. But there's more. There's also the Leonids going on at the tail of Leo. And on the shoulders. And the government shall be upon his shoulders. Wonderful virginids on the shoulders of Virgo. As the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I don't make this up. This is just how awesome all of this is. The president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Part of the curse of Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon are true. If the living prophets of Jesus aren't going to conform and comply to the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith, then they're wrong. I will not deny the truth. I will not cave to give loyalty to those who are false. It's just awesomest. Okay? So that was right before the transfer of authority. 2008 with the dreams. So we won't go over those. So his full death date, also have that. And I'm not going to be able to post this tonight. I hope I remember to put everything in. Probably I won't. I should, because it's really cool. Put this stuff in. We'll think about it overnight. I just hope I remember to put everything in. And so, yeah, his actual death date has a specific sign in the heavens as well. Not just for the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse, for both of them, and how they're a pattern, reverse pattern match. So, alright. So, done with that picture. And already deleted it? Okay. So, yeah, we don't need this one then, because of the transfer of authority dreams. Oops, need you back up here. Review. Okay, you're coming up. Okay, so I don't need to go over oaks. That's not necessary. Alright, we need to go over 2014. So this one first. So we need to go to the scriptures now to explain this. How Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon are true. In Matthew chapter 25, still talking about the latter days, we have the parable of the 10 virgins. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins. Well, that doesn't talk about the latter days. But yet, verse 13 gets thrown in by a Christian. Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. He's talking about this as the wedding supper feast of the Lamb at the Zion temple. Revelation chapter 19. Talking about Zion as the kingdom of heaven, which is the kingdom on earth. It's not afterlife. So kingdom of heaven means something different to the Jewish author who wrote it. Which, yes, sign in the heavens. The calendar date and clock time that the Christian put in, you know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh, and boom, there it is. The parable of the 10 virgins. We know this because Joseph Smith likewise, and it's in the footnotes, tells us this. Verse 56. At that day, when I shall come in my glory, shall the parable be fulfilled, which I spake concerning the 10 virgins. The day, there's a day with the 10 virgins. 5 of them are foolish, 5 of them are wise. Religion, again, Joseph Smith translation, Revelation chapter 12, verse 7. The woman is the church. I'm having to repeat too much stuff. Too much stuff being repeated. So, made this picture for you earlier this year. So pretty. Had to revise it to have it red and white. Black, red, and white. All pretty. So yes, I'd already done the previous picture. And so, did the video explaining this. The foolish virgins are the lunar eclipses in Virgo. The wise virgins are the full moons, not lunar eclipses, in Virgo at the same time. So there's 3 that starts us off at the beginning of the 11-year period of latter days. And then 2 more this year. Here at the end. Well, actually 2024 and 2025. So, yes, last year and this year. The 2 sets. At the beginning and at the end. And so in 2014, you had the 15th of April for the lunar eclipse. This was during the Jewish Passover. Kind of vital to know that the Jews are not only writing prophecies, but they're also writing days and hours, calendar dates, clock times of when the prophecies are going to be fulfilled, and they also happen to coincide with the Jewish holy days. And so, the wise virgin for 2014 was on the 16th of March. Yep. The evening and into the day of Emmanuel's birthday, Purim, that year. 2015, Foolish Virgin on the 4th of April. Conference weekend, Saturday morning. Passover. That's when the news finally confessed that it was a tetrad. Then I had to correct it after that. And the wise virgin was on the 5th of March. Purim. Seeing the pattern? Even though it's a reverse pattern? Remember? Faust and Hinckley. Reverse pattern. We're seeing the reverse patterns again here. With patterns. This is really cool stuff. So 2016 also gets included. There's a switch. The Foolish Virgin is on the 23rd of March, which is Purim. And the Wise Virgin is on the 21st of April, Passover. And the latter days begins. And then the latter days ends with the final 2. 2024 on the 25th of March, Purim for the Foolish Virgin. been following me, you would have seen me do those pictures in advance. Keep repeating them for a while. And then the Wise Virgin was on the 23rd of April, Passover. And then this year, 14th of March, Purim for the Foolish Virgin, and 12th of April for the Wise Virgin, Passover. And so there's even some more reverse patterns going on here. So the first 3 years have a set, and then 2 years at the end. But the first 2 years, it's the foolish for Passover and the wise for Purim, but the final 3 are Purim for the foolish and Passover for the wise. Reverse pattern. These are things you have to have as evidence. You can't just dismiss it because you don't want to believe. Why would you not want to believe? This is awesome. So, what I've been telling you all these years and had to correct, it's more than just a tetrad. See, the guy who made it popular only covered the lunar eclipses because they were all on Jewish holy days as well. So the ones at the beginning of the year were on Passover, and then the ones at the end of the year were on tabernacles or tents, sukkot, ingathering, harvest, which is what we got coming up. We got it coming up. I warned you I had a dream of bread. I warned you. Here it is. That's why I'm wanting to do this video, so I can get the information. Hoping that somehow doing this, I'll finally get the answer. But there's solar eclipses also. In 2014, it was the 29th of April, 2014, and 23rd of October, 2014. But in 2015, this is where the guy missed out on this. The 20th of March, 2015, was the first of Nisan. That's the religious calendar New Year for the Jews. 20th of March, 2015. Then the one on September 13th, 2015, was the civil calendar New Year of the Jews. The year 5776. And so that includes more Jewish holy days, even though it's New Year's in this particular case. But also, as the news finally confessed on Saturday morning conference that it was a tetrad, and I've told you the videos, how I was released from my wrongful incarceration to have me murdered. And I don't tangent me. I get out just in time for this. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. Like all the deaths that we're going over, just a coincidence. Nothing to see here. Move along. Keep paying your tithing. So when I hear about the first one on this thing called TV news, I'm going, oh, because I still remember Faust and Hinckley. And so I'm going, oh, I wonder if there's going to be a death of a living prophet of Jesus. Came and went. Nope, nothing. Okay, well, failed. I guess it's wrong. It failed the test. And then October comes around and the news announces another lunar eclipse. I go, oh, why didn't you tell me there was two? There's always two. Nonetheless, I don't have the materials to do the research on. And so I go, oh, maybe there's going to be two living prophets of Jesus bite the big one. Came and went, nothing. All right, then it's a failure. It's official. Until the one for conference. And I went, oh, you guys playing tricks on me. Yeah. So 30th of May 2015, L. Tom Perry, dead. 3rd July 2015, Packer, dead. Bye-bye little factory talk. They were waiting for him to die to get rid of that one. And then, number 3, but number 1 in our hearts, has, I've done one-on-ones with several of these guys that I had one-on-ones with. He was one of them. And there was a woman in the Jordan River Temple that I was very curious about. Are you his daughter? Are you single? But Richard G. Scott, on Yom Kippur, Jewish holy day, by the way, the Day of Atonement, on the 22nd of September. Do you remember the 22nd of September? 1823, and the 1838 vision of Joseph Smith. Day of Atonement, you say? Mm-hmm. Yep. And so with Joseph Smith's powers, I've also caught on, after the 10 virgins, that there's more to this in scriptures, where the woman always is Virgo. And so sure enough, while being reminded of the 3 virgins sacrificed on the altar in Abraham chapter 1 verse 11, sure enough, foolish virgins. Why are they foolish when they were innocent virgins? Well, because they're of Ham, that had no authority for the priesthood. That's why they're foolish. Brilliant by Joseph Smith. Brilliant. And so, yes, it's the first 3 lunar eclipses at the beginning of the latter days. The 3 foolish virgins sacrificed on the altar. Lunar eclipses. And wouldn't you know it, that Joseph, I already knew this was coming because I've been doing that picture forever. The 3 facsimiles that Joseph Smith put in. There's a whole lot more facsimiles. Joseph never touched them. Didn't get them published in 1842 with the others. Well, he just didn't finish, and nobody apparently thinks it's important for eternal salvation, so we don't have them. Fine, I'll do it. Sure enough, they all have to do with solar eclipses, as we're about to get to that. And so, yes, the 21st of August 2017, Monson's birthday, in verse 12, following the death of the 3 virgins for religion. Lunar eclipses followed by the solar eclipse. awesome. Joseph Smith is awesome. Just incredible how he knew all this. Okay. Okay, I need to go to that page then. So yeah, I've also been showing you how other Jewish authors talk about the 3 solar eclipses: Samson, Jonah and the whale, Jesus. Whenever you see 3 darknesses, 3 in a tomb, 3 hours, 3 days, any such thing like that, that's what they're referring to, the 3 solar eclipses for the latter days. And so, yeah, we do need to go over the other 2 facsimiles now. Thank you, Microsoft, for finally conforming. Dear God. And so the lion couch is a dead giveaway for the one on the 21st of August 2017 in Leo at Regulus, the King Star. Leo, Judah, Utah. That sign also for facsimile number 1 went back to, anyway. Mercury and Mars are there in conjunction on either side of the solar eclipse at Regulus. And so this wasn't difficult for me to figure out, as I would go on to easily get confirmations to establish it as fact. Trump is Mercury. Nelson is Mars. Anciently, it was a theocracy, government and religion combined into one. It's not that way over the United States of America. We have a government, we have a religion. The religion, obviously, is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The United States, therefore, is the government. Trump became the president. So, that's how I know the Book of Mormon is true. First Nephi. I need to do this with the 23rd of September. So hold on, we'll come back to this. Not there yet. So we're skipping ahead in time to facsimile number 2, which I'm horrified that Egyptologists can't figure this out. I mean, yeah, they get the eye of the sun, though they name it differently, and so that screws up the interpretation. If they understood that it's the eye of Horus, the Christ of the Egyptians, that the 2 eyes represent seer, government, and religion, etc., etc. Anyway, I had to come in and correct them. But it's also the woman's womb. Annular is the ring of fire. And wouldn't you know it, 14th of October 2023, they're at the womb of Virgo. And right by Spica, the Bethlehem star. Just so incredible. And of course it went over Utah. And of course Ballard dies. And it has to do with women and a sexual harassment case. I think Venus is also nearby, and obviously Mercury would also be there. Yeah, Venus and then Mercury. So the messenger, it's not necessarily Trump when it's just a religious interpretation. There's a government interpretation and a religious interpretation. And so there are times where you can mix the two together, but you also need to look for a separate interpretation for each. And so for religious, it's just an angel messenger giving an announcement. And likewise, it could be for government, but Trump likes to speak for himself. And so the final one is Revelation 19 on the back of the flying white horse with Jupiter in Aries, the Lamb-Ram constellation, which 19 talks about the wedding supper feast at the Lion House. Terrible 10 virgins, they're going to a wedding. So there you have the wedding scene from the Egyptians. And I am horrified that Egyptologists keep complaining. Yes, Joseph Smith did make an error. He switched the husband and the wife around. That was his only error. No, that is the female pharaoh, Hatshepsut, if I pronounce that right. She's tricky, I have to read her name. She was the female pharaoh who gave birth to, King David Moses III, Mr. Armageddon I, parting the mountains to battle the Hittites, and in the midst of the war, put his foot on the mountain of Salem. Afterwards, they then built the temple of Jerusalem and the palace for the future kings of Salem. In Paleo-Hebrew, Solomon. The N is a suffix determinative. Salem, peace. Solomon. N, king. Kings of Salem. Real simple, everybody botches it. And so yes, you can have Abraham there. That's perfectly acceptable. It's what the Jews did for their scriptures. But yes, it is Osiris. He is the father of the prince who would then be Isaac. Or David Moses III, King David, Messiah ben David. Ta-da! Emmanuel. The wedding supper feast at the Lion House of the Temple of Zion. Real simple. Everybody misses it. Joseph Smith knew. He is true. He is awesome. He is the man. Alright. So let's get this out of the way to find the next funds. The final one, we might as well talk about it now since I've already talked about the solar eclipse in April 2024. So the Book of Mormon tells us that Lehi exodused from Jerusalem 600 years before the birth of Jesus, from the first year of the reign of King Zedekiah, is technically what it says. And in that context, you have to know that 597 was when the first year of Zedekiah was. So 600 years from 597 is 4 CE, no 0 year. So running the test, after I knew about the 21st of August 2017 on the 4th of November 2016 by Fox 13 News Utah, repeat, I ran the test, checking. So the Book of Mormon has a time given, 600 years from 597. Let's check. I knew to ignore both Christian and Mormon claims for the birth year of Jesus. Those are not facts, those are not evidence. 597 is the evidence. 600 years from 597 is the evidence. Stick to the evidence. 4 CE. But to check, yeah, I went to 6th of April. Nope, nothing. But wait, the moon is closing in on the sun. Sure enough, over Russia. Russia. If you're listening, I hope you can find a major city yet to be determined. Brilliant! Brilliant at so many levels. Just brilliant. So yes, an annular solar eclipse in the sacrificial ram-lamb constellation. And so, yep, Genesis chapter 22, verses 3 to 14, where Abraham takes Isaac to Utah. And Isaac is saying, "Where's the lamb for the sacrifice, Daddy?" Well, the Lord will provide. Here, let me tie your hands and feet together and stick you on the altar while we wait for the lamb to appear. Okay, Daddy. It's not literal history. It's this right here, because there's Mercury also right there. And sure enough, a messenger appears and says, "Here's a ram in the thicket." Sacrifice of Isaac. 8 April, 4 CE. And I went, oh, hey, that's the exact same date as Revelation 19, 8 April, 2024. Ooh, 20 years to the day. Wait, 2020. That was the Exodus year. What happened that Exodus year? I'm still trying to figure out what happened. Everything happened. Nothing happened to finish it off with. Oaks, test run. That's what happened. So thus the Book of Mormon is telling you the date of the Exodus year, as well as the final year of the latter days again. The death sign that Samuel talks about. The birth sign and the death sign. So now we can get to the birth sign. Every Jew talks about. Every single Jew. Do, 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 do. And I don't have it on the screen. Why don't I have it on the screen? Because you'll notice I've been adding extra text to it. Doctrine and Covenants, section 103, verse 16, the Mormon. So yeah, it's not just Joseph Smith translation, Revelation 12:7. It's 1 to 3. But Revelation chapter 12, verses 1, 2, and 5. It's also from Isaiah chapter 6, verse 1, and 7, verses 13 and 14. And thus Matthew, and thus the Book of Mormon. This is the actual date for the start of the ministry of Emmanuel, the Mormon. And I knew that. And I knew I couldn't tell anybody until now, after the 24th of, or the 8th of April, 2024. Then I could reveal myself to everybody. Had to wait. I was told to wait. I waited. There were lots of people saying, just tell us. It's you, isn't it? Tell us. Tell us. Well, if you're not smart enough to do the research and figure it out, I'm not even going to bother to tell you. Because Alma, chapter 32, talks about those who are compelled to believe and how greater condemnation and greater restrictions they're under if they choose not to believe after being compelled to believe, versus those who are not compelled to believe and do their research and study and then believe from there and then keep running tests and getting confirmation. And then you've got denialists all the way through who don't want to bother to study at all and don't want to repent when I'm proven right. The Book of Mormon is true. Joseph Smith is true. Mormons refuse to listen to me. They say no. By denying me, they are denying the Book of Mormon. They are denying Joseph Smith, because I have made it very clear in this video alone, let alone my 8.8K. The Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith are true. It just means that this church is false. They're the great and abominable church. And great must be the fall thereof. And that's why I'm doing this video, is to try to figure out when. When. And already this is an hour. And so it's a pattern match. I also have to include this because there have been people on YouTube who've tried to claim that it came and went and therefore it wasn't it. And so they're saying that, you know, the sun is in Virgo every year and so is the moon at the feet. And with Jupiter, it's every so many years, and so it happens all the time. You're ignoring the 5 visible planets, the 3 that are in Leo. They try to lie to you and say that there's 12 in Leo. No, there's multi-billions. The ancients designated 9. So when John is telling you there's 12, it means there's 3 additional planets among the stars. God. And so the 5th one was put in the wrong order, and that's why everybody misses it. It's Saturn. Remember Faust? That's why I always pay attention to Saturn for another apostle who might be biting the big one rather than the president. Right, Bellard? Yep, indeed. Okay. And I want to get away from that file. Get me back. So, 2017, October 1st, Hales dies. Yep. And so I can count the first solar eclipse in August, as well as he ties in to the 23rd of September, which is about a week before he died. The start of the ministry, therefore I can tie him to the solar eclipse, and thus even the lunar eclipse that also occurred during that time period as well. So those all belong to him. That anomaly of the solar eclipse can be tied to Hales, because he's not the president of the church, and so technically the curse of Joseph Smith is not directly associated with him, but he's part of the latter days deaths, so we can tie it together with that. And I don't have, oh my God, hold on a second. Let me get the time and dates, because then we're going to have to do this to complete his. Because I have his death day, sign in the heavens here, and then I have the 21st of August and the 23rd, 21st of August and the 23rd of September on the other side. But there's a lunar eclipse that is missing from this that I'm going to need to retroactively obtain. So let's see if my luck is still carrying on. I believe it was before the solar. Still good. Still good. Still good. Should I just do it? Oh, I think I blew it. Barely made it. Ooh, didn't barely make it. Pisses me off. I complain, and then they made it permanent every single day. Bastards. Alright, so lunar is August 7th, yeah, that's what I thought. August 7th. So I would have to check where. And again, I need to see where the lunar eclipse was. I'll be back again. Now the bigger picture on these days also have combined meaning. I am just focusing on the particular event location. And in the context of the latter days, I should also bring up that the Book of Mormon, by using the first year of the reign of Zedekiah, is talking about multiple dates that are involved with the latter days. There are 11 years from 2014 to 2025. That's the full length of the latter days. The solar eclipses time period is 2017 to 2024. So a 7-year time period, even though you also count the 8th year. That's what's known to the Jews as a sabbatical year for the latter days and the coming of the Christ. Then the Jubilee year, the 50th year of his birth, is 2020 also, when the solar eclipses of 600 years from Lehi leaving Jerusalem, that gives us the Exodus year. So that's the Jubilee year for the Jews that they talk about when the Messiah comes. And so 2020 is also included in the Book of Mormon. All of these, not just 9th Avs or 9/11s. So that's why I'm wondering if something's coming up for Nelson's birthday again. 3 years in a row. And my bread dream as well. this is what I'm trying to figure out. I'm hoping to do it in advance rather than after the fact. And looking back and go, oh, I could have found that out myself. Like Monson, for example, as we're about to get to. And so with Hale's dying, yeah, it's also in the tail of the goat beast. And in Aquarius, the high priest constellation, there are 5 falling stars. Yep. So really cool stuff. The Book of Mormon is so true. Alright, so after Hales, we then get to the 17th of December. I didn't transfer that over, and that needs to be transferred over for this video. Let's make a new paper. Transfer 17th of December 2017. I don't need to stop the camera for this one because I know exactly where it is. I'll just read it to you from Revelation chapter 12. Sign in the heavens number 2 in verse 3, which is verse 4 in the Joseph Smith translation. They combined 3 and 4 in the Joseph Smith translation. This is very curious. But this year, they were together as the sign in the heavens. So that was interesting. There appeared another wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. Well, it's obviously serpents, except 10 horns is not 10 horns, 5. Which means 5 celestial bodies at the tail of serpents, in between, or outside of Ophiuchus, the throne of God, for Saturn. Verse 5 gets moved to verse 3. And so, going forward, after knowing the 23rd of September, yeah, this was an easy find. There on 17th of December 2017, the 5th dark day of Hanukkah. So, yep, 5 additional planets, 5 stars at the tail of serpents, the horns, and so everything fits. The 7 crowns are the corona borealis, 7 stars on a crown, and then the 7 heads are the 7 stars for his head, designated. And the 5th dark day of Hanukkah is when the Maccabean revolt takes back the Jerusalem temple from the Greeks. They called this the abomination of desolation when the Greeks destroyed the altar and rebuilt a Greek altar and began offering Greek sacrifices. That's why no pigs, even though it's approved of normally because of the hoof thing. But nonetheless, because of what the Greeks did, pigs were then banned to remind the Jews about the abomination of desolation, which also included prostituting women in the temple, paying for sex. The abomination of desolation. And that's exactly what Brigham Young did to Joseph Smith's temple. Destroyed the altar with the endowment ceremony and underwear for the covenant path, and then required men to pay to get sealed in the temple. Prostitution. 101. Pimp Daddy Brigham. So Pimp Daddy Nelson. The abomination of desolation for the dragon. And so the Hanukkah, 5th day of Hanukkah, is the dark day. And then the Maccabean story explains Hanukkah, or you can just listen to the dreidel song of Billy Madison. He's coming out with a part 2 for his golf movie. At least I heard, unless it's an AI fake or a fan favorite. You can't tell anymore. YouTube's not cracking down on fake AI stuff. They're supposed to notify us that it's AI. Nonetheless. So the next one, yep, Monson. Verse 4. His tail, dragon's tail, thus goat beast, tail of the goat beast. There's a lot of tails that go on in these latter days. This is why. His tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven. So, falling stars, third part. The third largest falling stars of the year is the quadranted meteor showers the first week of January. Yep. The tail of Draco the dragon, the Draconids. Did cast them to the earth. And boy, did they with a vengeance. Do we need to talk about? Yeah, get the Elko, Nevada thing and the flood. The mouth of the dragon, flood comes out. Yeah, that's a partial lunar eclipse for that too. So, probably should get the picture for that. Pick 10th of February, Family Discovery Day, Roots Tech for Nelson. So yes, Nelson's doing his in Salt Lake City, where it says in Revelation that the water didn't affect it. I went straight into the mouth of the dragon. I'm not afraid. 2017. Stellarium pick. There was a lunar eclipse that evening with the storm raging, and she had the pedal to the metal. Can't see in front of us, and she's speeding to Elko, Nevada. Dear God. And so, yeah. I fulfilled prophecy on that one with Nelson. Both of us together, and he's Mars. Trump is Mercury, so that leaves Jupiter. So, yeah, and Monson now. Monson, you naughty boy. So this we do need to bring up what I took down, but yeah, the reason for all this is the curse of Travis Wayne Goodsell. They did it to Joseph, and then Monson did it to me. And put D. Todd Christofferson in charge of it. So I'm being corrected. This is where it, with, yeah, Nelson being 101. Because at 1:01 p.m., on the very day of the scripture, the 2nd of January 2018, which was also a super full moon, there would be 2 of them that month. There was the quadranted meteor showers, exactly as Revelation told us. So the Book of Mormon is true by saying to us that we need to refer to the Book of Revelation, the book of the Lamb, Apostle of the Lamb, whose name is John. That's how Revelations is proof that the Book of Mormon is true. It's because the Book of Mormon says refer to Revelation for a lot of the stuff. So yes, the Book of Mormon covers a lot of the stuff in Revelation. The solar eclipses and the 23rd of September 2017. But for this one, yeah, this is an assist with the Book of Mormon to help it be true. And so he had a solar eclipse, which I don't have the solar eclipse on here. Oh my hell. This was just the religious part of it before I started doing the solar. And so I have to refer to the Curse of Joseph Smith for the solar part. Hold on. So this was the longest super blood blue wolf total lunar eclipse full moon on the 31st of January 2018, because it was the second moon, and just awesome. 10:01, just incredible. So yeah, the Curse of Joseph Smith gives us a solar, which I can count the 21st of August. That was his birthday, by the way. It was also the ancient Egyptian religious calendar New Year. The Egyptians knew of this date. If you've ever seen the movie, not just with Samson, where he is wounded in his eye, right eye, but the Egyptian version, where Horus gets wounded in his right eye. That's what they're talking about, that date. Because their religious calendar is not the same every year. It's not the same date. It switches around. And so for it to be a total solar eclipse, which is what they're symbolizing here by saying that Horus loses his eye, they're giving you the date of the start of his ministry. The contest of Jacob versus Esau. And the porridge, tossed salad, or cookie. You missed that video, didn't you? Or you're not listening. Talking to an empty room after 10 o'clock at night. I do not want to be up late. But there's another one closer to his death. That was the 15th of February 2018. And so technically, because I go back to the ones in August and back to the ones in August for Monson, I can also include the 23rd of September 2017 in it as well. So that should technically be added in as an extra thing. So yeah, the 15th of February 2018 for the lunar or solar eclipse was when that happened. And so even though it's a little bit beyond the week, because it's the start of the latter days of the 7-year period, it counts for this instance. Fulfilling scripture on the day, and then solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse, everything's hitting the fan, and then Lucifer takes over the throne of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, just as the Book of Mormon told you it did. The formation of the great and abominable church, whose founder is Lucifer. Says the devil, but he also quotes Isaiah about Lucifer from the Latin Vulgate. Book of Mormon is true. It is not lying to you. It is not fake. It is not plagiarism in the sense of to make money. or to be deceptive. There is a reason for why they put in the late war with Napoleon for the Latter Days War. That's why. You need to keep going, guys. You can't pick and choose evidence and then claim that that's all there is and there needs to be no more evidence. Got to explain it all. Alright, so that was Monson. Then there's some other stuff also on the 17th of December. Yeah, the abomination of desolation with the temple. Yeah, guess what Nelson pulled on that day? Nelson, not Monson. Monson's on his deathbed. He can't do anything anymore. Nelson usurped the authority before his time and changed the date or the age for girls to go to the temple to 11. Remember the abomination of desolation? The dragon, Lucifer, yeah. And so in 2019, he restores polygamy to order it for Mormons to practice, now with 11-year-old girls. If they are not going to be righteous and follow the Book of Mormon, they are not true. And so there's been some other signs that have happened. Putting my foot on Mount Olympus happened. Wounds in my hands and my feet. Joseph Smith is true. The 6th of June, 2022. And then some other signs of mine of the 2023, doing a countdown to 9/11. And then 3 weeks later, Nelson finally confessed that he fell. How art thou fallen, O Lucifer, son of the morning, on 9/11, 2023. And then the next year, I did a 9th Ave countdown and a 9/11 countdown. And sure enough, Elijah versus the priests of Baal. Jesus didn't show. I dumped water all over the altar, and then lightning struck the temple of Tuli, causing a fire out in Tooele. But we've gone too far, because we got to go over the Exodus year in 2020. Oh, I should also bring out the locations on Earth where the solar eclipses occurred. The 21st of August 2017, on President Monson's birthday, happened over Adamondiaman and Independence, Missouri. That's important to know because Adamondiaman is the secret headquarters of the Danites that caused the Utah or Mormon War. They got Joseph and Mormons who were innocent in trouble. They framed and blamed not just Joseph, but other Mormons who did not want to join their merry little band of robbers. The 14th of October, 2023, over Utah, and Crossroads, Texas. Crossroads County, Texas. He who is from the crossroads. And then 8 April 2024, over Kirtland, Ohio, and Manchester, New York, where the farm was. Also over Batavia and Palmyra. Yeah. First shall be last, last shall be first. Just amazing. And so the Paleo-Hebrew letters for sign, or signs, first and last letters, formed over the United States of America by the sun god at noonday and his shadow from the eclipses. Forming the crossroads, letting Mormons know his full name, letting Mormons know where Zion would be, not independence. John Taylor said that that was going to be destroyed. 19 July 1840, Joseph Smith says Southern Illinois. So when you know about the Knights Templar coming to America in 1363 and burying Egyptian gold plates in the ground in the caves in Southern Illinois, having purchased the land for the latter days and the kingdom of Zion, New Jerusalem, from the Mandan Indian tribe. The Indians that were there were the sun god people of the sun god of the sun city with the sun king, who were offering human sacrifices to the sun god at that location. They knew the date. Nobody else understands it. So you've probably heard about the 7 Salems on the 21st of August, and then there's Ninevehs on the 8th of October, or 8th of April. And so, yeah, I've already done those videos. And the Salem Road, somebody new built a little cabin home up there at where we're supposed to live. So I am curious. About the bigger picture of what I'm wondering is going to happen. Where are you? There you are, way down here. Down there. So from 2017, but especially in 2020, I put out the warning voice of the coming Exodus. And at that time, I didn't realize how literal the prophecies were going to be. This is why I'm very curious for what's about to happen. And so at the time, I obviously, Pharaoh said no when suing in Pharaoh's court. And so there was supposed to be a transfer of authority after creeping death destroys Pharaoh and the future kingdoms. Again, it's a theocracy, both for government and religion. And Trump is supposed to be assassinated by the enemy. They want Trump to transfer all authority to the individual states because the Church of Jesus Christ is the enemy. And so they're having Trump transfer authority to all the states because the church is involved with a secret combination with evangelicals who want to run America as evangelical, the kingdom of Zion. And so the church is using them to get their own kingdom back, Deseret 2.0. And so by handing over authority to the individual states, the church gets their kingdom back. But under Trump, they don't want to pay tribute to Trump as the King of Kings, Lord of Lords. So they have to have him assassinated. And so creeping death was the means that they were using to do this, just like in the Exodus story. In the Exodus story, it's Pharaoh's son who dies. The succession of pharaohs was father to son. So when the birthright blessing son dies, that's why they'd have extra wives to have extra children, hopefully sons, that can be a backup to take over the throne. And in the story, though, it's a prophecy. It's not literal history like everybody claims it is. Thanks to the movies. Christian Bale and Yul Brynner with Charlton Heston, the famous one. turning it literal history because of Christianity. And so in the story, with Pharaoh's son dying, he doesn't have any other heir. They don't mention it. They just say the kingdom's destroyed. There's nobody to succeed Pharaoh on the throne. So that's what you need to pay attention to in the story. And so for government, the United States uses the Book of Mormon. Well, it's from the Book of Mormon that we see their plot. 3 Nephi chapter 7. This was supposed to be 2020. And now behold, I will show unto you that they did not establish a king over the land. But in the same year, yea, the 30th year, they did destroy upon the judgment seat, yea, did murder the chief judge of the land. This is where I previously this year talked about Mitt Romney having lost the presidential election to Obama. If Romney had won, Romney would have been running for a second term in 2016. So there would have been no Trump, no Russia, no Hillary. Well, it may have been Hillary, but it would have been Hillary versus Romney. And so the church has backup plans for backup plans in case of failures. And so if Romney had won, then 2020 would have happened as recorded. It would not have been a test run. They would have had another Republican running for president, unless Mitt Romney would actually dare claim a third term. But Mitt Romney would be the president who's assassinated here, to throw out the election as illegitimate and all chaos breaking loose during that time to cause a civil war, and thus the people being divided one against another, separated one from another into nation states. But Romney lost. If it was Hillary who won, then yeah, the 2020 election would, be Hillary who would be assassinated. Or if the winner was the Republican, that it would be weird, because it says they did not establish a king over the land. But regardless, it became a test run because Mitt Romney lost. So the 2016 election then stepped up to be Trump, which then fulfilled the Book of Mormon, whether they knew and understood it or not. Because remember, Brigham Young turned this all into literal history, as Heber C. Kimball knew that it was exposing their plot. But whether they passed that on or not, and that Monson and Nelson and Oakes and others may know of this or not, that's unclear. Because for Martin Harris to come with Brigham Young, yeah, he was kept out of the loop. He's the wicked man. They didn't want to tell him what was going on. And so, yeah, he went with Brigham. But I doubt Brigham would have told him anything, because he likes to leak. But we can't speculate on what could have happened, because it already happened. Trump, King Zedekiah, in the first year of 2017, for the sign that would occur on the 23rd of September 2017 in the vision that Lehi has. So Trump is Zedekiah, not Romney. And so it worked out better. And so Russia, yes, was involved. 600 years, Russia. Amazing. All of this was part of their plot that was known on 9/11/1826. We're already over time. So they're supposed to destroy the federal government. That's what they're doing. That's why I keep doing these news videos for you every day, is to warn you of what's coming, that the Book of Mormon is true. It's going to happen. Joseph Smith is true. It's going to happen. You're not listening to me and you're not believing. And so the literal stuff that happened was creeping death, suing in Pharaoh's court, and parting the waters, and a drought in the midst of the 3 days of darkness, with falling stars, and an earthquake, the Magna earthquake. Yeah. And so all of this. And with Oak saying that was just a test run, which means they're going to do all this stuff again this year. So, yep, sure enough, the drought is back. We had the 3rd day of darkness last year, and we've got others this year, which, yeah, the extension with the stuff that's been happening now can qualify to be part of the curse of Joseph Smith if it happens. We're there. At the beginning of the year, Stanford said, hey, what if it ends up going until Feast of Tabernacles this year? No! And here we are. Stanford was right. But, yeah, falling stars, parting of the waters, all happened again, as well as creeping death. It's rising. But I put out the warning voice in 2020 in advance to say, if something happens, made it very clear, if. Don't go now, go if and when the destruction happens. Because I didn't realize it was going to be literally deportation for the scattering. Everything is being literally fulfilled. Just wild. I recommended we meet at the Green River overpass, where the I-70 takes us east. And I knew then that it was going to be in southern Illinois. I'm pretty sure that I now knew about 19 July 1840. The document Brigham Young refused to publish because he's exposed as the enemy. And so sure enough, the drought that carried over into 2021, the news then reported the Green River dried up. Wow, I just parted the waters. That's so cool. And it was just a test run. Oh my God, are you kidding me? But I made up for it this year, obviously, if you've been following. Right now we're under cookie alert. Well, there I had it. Already had it on the screen. Okay, so we need to do Ballard next. I already briefly covered him, but yeah. I had to make 2 pictures for Ballard. Where's your second one? There it is, down there. So yeah, I put his signs as well as the solar and the lunar eclipse. And his was on a a version of 9/11. It was the 11th day of the 9th month, and I've gone over that with you. The authors of the different 5 books of the Torah have a different rendering of day and month. Some of them do month and day. And so that's important to know and understand in the context of scripture interpretation and signs in the heavens. So there's multiple opportunities for 9/11s. And there's the other one. Yeah, so he died on the 8th of October, or 12th of November, 2023. And so the 14th of October 2023 was the solar eclipse. 1 month. It went over Utah, and Mars is there at the Bethlehem star. Mercury is announcing it. Virgo is the woman. So yeah, just incredible. So a lunar eclipse occurred on the 28th of October, so before he died, and it was there in Aries with 2 falling stars and a third up in Andromeda, as the Jupiter, me, was also there, still retrograding in advance of my big show in 8 April 2024. So Ballard's dead. So we're waiting for the Curse of Joseph Smith on Nelson. Curse of Joseph Smith is the law of Purim of the Jews from the book of Esther, which is the law of Deuteronomy 19:19 for false accusers. They get the punishment of the falsely accused. And as I've been falsely accused and punished, they now get punished in the like manner that they tried to do to me. Law of Purim, Book of Esther. The weapon used to murder the Jews is the weapon that the enemy is used to take them out instead. And so they murdered Joseph Smith under the sun shall be darkened, moon turned to blood, stars fall from heaven. Solar eclipses, lunar eclipses. So I ran the test, and what do you know? Somebody up there hates this church with a passion for what they did to Joseph Smith. This is obvious revenge. This is being removed as a false prophet, as Wilford Woodruff's insistence that the Lord would do so if they were leading Mormons astray. And yep, sure are. Verse 11 in official declaration number 1. The Lord will never permit me or any man who stands as president of this church to lead you astray. It is not in the program. It is not the mind of God. If I were to attempt that, the Lord would remove me out of my place. So he will any other man who attempts to lead the children of men astray from the oracles of God and from their duty. So Wilford Woodruff died under a double whammy. 2 sets of 4. Just like Joseph Smith, 2 sets of 4. So 2 solar eclipses, 2 lunar eclipses, before and after his death on September 2nd, 1898. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. And so yes, Brigham Young, he had a double solar. John Taylor, Lorenzo Snow, Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. died 19 November 1918, from creeping death. That is significant. Joseph Fielding Smith is the son of Hiram Smith, who was taken with Heber C. Kimball. The damage that Heber C. Kimball did is evident by him being included on this curse of Joseph Smith. He became evil, despite being the son of Hiram Smith. What Heber C. Kimball did to him was just awful. So he's not a legitimate president of the church. He's leading Mormons astray. The church was shut down before Wilford Woodruff. Wilford Woodruff is the one who's pretending to be the president of the church that got dissolved by the United States of America. So it's even more hilarious, verse 11. So it wasn't until Heber J. Grant that the corporation of the dissolved church was formed. And so that's what got my attention for Nelson, is wondering, is it just going to be old age? Or is there something that's going to trigger it? Like the falling down. And so, yeah, with creeping death, that's the Exodus story. Creeping death takes out the kingdom, and so he hands it off to Moses. Go. Transfer of authority, the fall of the great and abominable church, transfer of authority, the Exodus to Zion. The final four that I've been talking about all this year. And so for the church to fall, as all the rest of them, Junior, by the way, Joseph Fielding Smith Jr., the grandson, also on this list. He is of significance also because he died he took over on the 23rd of January 1970. Remember the Jubilee year for the Exodus? That's the birth year of Emmanuel, guys. March 17th. So the Matthew scripture, the birth of we have seen his star in the east. It's his birth, not the start of his ministry. That's a different dating. They gave his birth date in there and the sign of his birth date. 7th of March, 1970, over the east coast of the United States. It hugged it. The Jews were brilliant. And so that was an extra Bible stuff that did not get. Yeah, they do talk about it in Nephi's dream, sort of, kind of. They don't really give the sign per se, but they talk about the 23rd of September 2017, but about his actual birth, because Mary is a white woman. And refers to Heavenly Father rather than a dove. So yes, Father Amen and Son Amen. So yeah, the Book of Mormon is true in that sense. It is not racist. I am white, in case you couldn't tell. But yes, my mom's side does have the West African black slave, 14-year-old girl who was raped by the slave owner. So I've got that also. prophecies getting fulfilled all over the place. And so, yeah, junior is the one taking over at my birth, which, I doubt they knew this. This is my study of this, that I found this pattern. So yeah, this is just incredible. And so then Harold B. Lee, Spencer W. Kimball, Ezra Taft Benson, Howard W. Hunter even. Only 9 months and he still gets caught up in it. Gordon B. Hinckley, and the big one, Thomas S. Monson, for the double whammy of the curse of Joseph Smith Jr. and myself. And I'm surprised that David Todd Christofferson is not warning Nelson of what's coming. Come on, do your job. Do your job. Alright, so tomorrow we'll throw this out. An asteroid, it's like 31A or A31, was found this year. That's going to be flying over tomorrow, flying by Earth. No, we don't want that one yet. So, yeah, I had my bread dream, the 4 months, that's the 4 moons, new moons and full moons. And so the first moon was the black moon, back in August, for the seasonal black moon. So that was interesting because that was created in 2016 when they started seasonal black moons. But nonetheless, it was kind of funny because September has the eclipses. And then the next one is in October on the 6th, the day after conference, and the evening for tabernacles. Just awesome. I told you to fear the bread. And so the black moon, I already did the video for you, was there at Regulus in Leo. The one coming up on the 7th is the lunar eclipse for Nelson's birthday, carries over into the 8th. And that is a company that's at the waters of the high priest symbol. Flood, remember? Here comes the flood. Cookie, flood again. You really have to pay attention to me, guys. My dreams are very, very cookie-ish. Very powerful. So there's falling stars on the back of the Pegasus, and then there's 2 falling stars at the high priest Aquarius. One at the chest, which is the right breast. Square on the left, and a compass on the right, right? On the left is the mark of the square. It is placed over the left breast to indicate to the mind an undeviating course leading to eternal life, that all desires, appetites, and passions must be kept within the bounds the Lord has set, that all truth may be circumscribed into one great whole. On the right is the mark of the compass. Am I getting this right? It's even in the V-ish shape. then the right breast would be for keeping the covenants entered into this day, or obedience. Something like that. They both do. Hold on a minute. Hopefully I still won't be cyber terrorized. It's amazing how they were being overly good to me, and then all of a sudden, boom, a big cyber attack on YouTube. The veil. Yep, the one on the mark is the square. Okay. It is placed over the garment over the right breast, suggesting to the mind exactness and honor in keeping the covenants entered into this day. Okay. Yeah, I did have them mixed up. The left is the mark of the compass. It is placed in the garment over the left breast, suggesting to the mind an undeviating course leading to eternal life. Constant reminder that desires, appetites, and passions be kept within the bounds of the Lord has said, that all truth may be circumscribed into one great hall. And then navel mark, knee mark. And then the marks of the veil for convenience. So yeah, exactness and honor in keeping the covenant path. Falling stars, he did not keep his covenant path, and he falls for the sign in the heavens. Thank goodness, a lot of stuff going on today. And then the knee mark. Every knee shall bow and every tongue confess that Emmanuel is the Christ. Awesome. Just awesome. And then on the 21st of September is the solar eclipse and Virgo at the shoulders of the head. Government shall be upon the shoulders. Government, shoulder, sun, solar eclipse. Mercury right there, also on the upper shoulders, part of the shoulders of the arm. And then Mars is aborted. Bye. So I am curious as to when. He turns 101 on his birthday on the 9th. So 10/1. Monson died 10/1 p.m. So I am curious. Very curious. Because if Nelson dies, Oakes just takes over in his place. Once they have the funeral, we learned from Nelson's experience that they meet after that, after the funeral, in the Holy of Holies, which won't be done this time around. Because they're not done with the temple. And so they'd be doing it in the administration building and make Oakes the new president of the church. So in order for the prophecy to be fulfilled, at least 9 must go. Because once there's 6 left, it's not enough to form a quorum to conduct business. Section 107. And so I am very, very curious as to how this is going to happen. And with my dreams of transferring authority to me, this third one that I had last year on 9/11, along with the Elijah versus Priest of Baal lightning strike, again, section 85, verse 8. Don't touch the altar, Nelson. Don't do it. Was Irene transferring authority? Not Hinckley, not Monson in the previous two. The third one was Irene. It was very clear it was Irene with the 88 and 76s, again, as with all the others. As David Todd Christofferson is 80 years and 8 months old. He has until the 21st, until he's now 81. Or no, it's 80 years and 9 months on the 21st. So I'm very curious about that also. So there's the 21st for the solar eclipse. So D. Todd Christofferson is going to be a part of this, apparently. Sun shall be darkened, moon turned to blood, just like Hales, Perry Packer Scott, and Ballard for being the fixer on the Strengthening Church Members Committee, being the one to do all this to me. So this is also very curious and interesting when it happens. And so, yeah, I'm very curious to see what happens. If, because, I don't know how, but it always does, literally. And creeping death, as much as it seems impossible, they've all been vaxxed, but they're old. Holland especially is vulnerable. He's in the Hawaii thing that he did to the youth Sunday. He's wearing the oxygen tank. He's having oxygen breathing into him. Not just the kidney dialysis that he's most likely still doing, and the other health problems that he's got. And so I'm amazed that he's still alive. But nonetheless, here we go. Notice last year also when Ballard died, or 2023 when Ballard died, Nelson immediately replaced him. That's because he knows about all of this, because David Todd Christofferson has been telling him. So they know about this. They're watching this video. They will know about this. Whether they watch it over the weekend, that's quite obsessive. Or whether they wait till Monday to get caught up. I don't know. Because this, dear God, it's over 2 hours now, isn't it? Or is it 3 hours? Oh my hell. Dear God. That's what I'm watching and waiting for. And so the 6th of October, right after conference, just like 8 April, 2024. It's on the back of the white horse. It's not an eclipse. It's Tabernacles time. And there are 3 falling stars in Pisces with the full moon in advance of Tabernacles. And Andromeda also has the falling stars. And so I also noticed 9/11 has something for the signs in the heavens, even though it's not associated other than 9/11 Remembrance Day. Some other stuff in September that's coming up is the moon is with Jupiter on the 16th, and then the sign in the heavens on the 11th. The equinox on the 22nd. The new year for the Jews is there on the 23rd. 23rd of September, 2025. 8 years later, it's now the new year. Where it was the start of the ministry, and now it becomes the new year. Just incredible. And so that one we can get rid of. And so yeah, the bread dream, and then I had the flood dream on 19th, 9 days later, 12:44 a.m., waking up all groggy, put it at the end of the video, did the picture. Really need to pay attention to my dreams, guys. You can't just rush to judgment and dismiss them. Of course, if you're listening still, you're already a believer, or you're David Todd Christofferson. So I'm talking to him. Because apparently after all of these videos that are all in the file cabinet with all my publications, he still doesn't believe? Dear God, that is extremist denialist. And for him to think that the church is going to get away with it. Look over the curse of Joseph Smith again, you dumbass. So yeah, I love comic strips. The cookie dream. On 2 days, because I couldn't quite figure out the one on the second. And so, okay, fine. Here it is, clearer for you. The Book of Cookies. There, does that help you? Yep, the scriptures with cookies. 11 of them. And sure enough, I'm not sure if I found the exact scripture, because in the dream it was the one verse, and then it skipped to the next verse, and then there would skip several verses to the third passage that was highlighted in the dream. I don't know if one of those scriptures involved that or not. But it's been a very long latter days. So like I told you though, this can't be rushed. Zion cannot be rushed. And so that's why I keep putting the Zion's Camp picture that I had with the additions on it. Is that the fall of the great and abominable church must happen. It can't just be Nelson dead. The whole church done away with, over. Whether it's Trump coming in and shutting it down and dissolving it, whether they die of creeping death so that only Irene is left, and then fearing and wetting himself, he being told about me, hands it over, hoping that he won't be struck down if he does. Or some other way that I have yet to foresee. But again, like I said, I have been amazed at how accurate the scriptures have been in the fulfillment of the prophecies that I didn't think were possible, as I've gone over with you. And so, no, it would not surprise me if it was creeping death that I've reported the last couple of days is greatly increasing in Utah. As also, the Deseret News reported that they are now resuming public speaking engagements, but not for devotionals yet. Holland's going to do one for little kids this weekend, or Karen is, one of the two. I think it's Karen, because Holland did the kids one or the youth one at Hawaii on Sunday. But 6 of them are planned to speak this spring, or fall. Oh my God, it's time to go to bed. This fall for BYU's devotionals, going to Hawaii, Idaho, BYU, probably Pathways maybe, but 6 of them are now finally scheduled. And I told you at the beginning, I noticed that after conference, they weren't scheduled for anything. There was the special one for the Aaronic priesthood, but that's the Aaronic priesthood, and then Karen did one, I think, for children, and then the Relief Society president or primary president, somebody did one for kids. There was no typical devotionals as they've been doing. They cut them off after conference, and that's because they expected Armageddon, Jesus, and it didn't happen. And so now that it's been extended and they don't know the day and the hour anymore, now they're resuming setting up for speaking engagements again, because Trump has failed. He's taking too long, and so yeah, so that's also concerning. But yeah, once the fall happens and the transfer to me is made, then I can put out the call from section 133 and have the bishops, and it's already set up in place. That's why we're using them. But if bishops are not worthy, because they don't believe, or if bishops don't want to go, then yeah, I have no problem with a woman being the one in charge, if the Relief Society president is the one who believes and is coming. So yes, whoever. But the system is already set up by the church, and so we want to use that to simplify things. And yes, ex-foes and even never-mos can come and join us as long as they obey the law of agency. Give it to other people. Don't take it away from other people. Don't tell other people how to live their life, and they won't tell you how to live your life. All you need to do is give life, liberty, and property. Don't take it away from other people. Don't tell people that they can't drink Mountain Dew. That's not a sin. It's not something to be kicked out of Zion for. Anything harmful? Yes. No Drano. Don't drink Drano. You're committing suicide. You're harming your body. But yeah, there's been some pregnant women up in Canada that the doctors told horror stories of. What are you doing? I've got a baby. But anyway. And so they will then be creating the book of the law of those who want to come. And then that book of the law will be given to me so that I will know who is coming and when you leave and when to expect you to arrive in Zion. I am hoping to have enough time to get there in advance and have cabins built for you guys so that you don't have to live in tents. But, like I said, the prophecies tend to get fulfilled literally. I'm hoping that is not the case. I want the best for you guys. That's the whole purpose for Zion. Zion is built the way I want it to, it's going to be awesome. Otherwise, I have no idea what to expect from Mormons, and from what I'm hearing about the Utah Mormons, I'm just, oh my God. The way I've been treated, definitely. Dear God. And so it may just be Mormons outside of this valley who get to go to Zion. I don't know yet. It hasn't happened. But section 85, verses 7 and 11 is the book of the law. And so when you get to Zion, you'll all stay, hopefully, in cabins. As once you're all gathered, and I'm hoping for a timing for Hanukkah this year. That Hanukkah is December 15th through the 22nd, because only the United States people can instantly go in an exodus with Trump still in power. To get the rest of the world to Zion is going to be a little more tricky if Trump's still in office. We'd have to be able to figure out how can Trump allow Mormons to come to Zion. But again, he also is prophesied to fall and be assassinated. I'm trying to warn him. He doesn't seem to want to listen. Nonetheless, despite my attempts to either fulfill the prophecies on my own or to try to prevent the prophecies from getting fulfilled, it doesn't matter. They always get fulfilled in the way that they are to get fulfilled. And literally. That has been an amazing thing. Even if I'm not even thinking or knowing that the prophecies were supposed to happen, I end up fulfilling them. That's also been weird. And so for this particular instance, I know what has to happen. I just don't know when and in what manner it's going to take place. That's what I'm trying to figure out here with this video. And so once we get everybody gathered from all around the world with the keys of Moses for the Exodus that I have, and I'm hoping tied with a date, because the second harvest is in November. And so it would be the 15th of Heshvan, which is a Thursday, which is the 6th of November. 6th of November. That's the second harvest for Israel, northern Israel. The Jews don't put it on their calendar. Did all this last year for you. And so that would be the second harvest of wheat. The Israelites scattered around the world, and those got deported by Trump here in America. And so then the 15th through the 22nd is when the Jews restored the temple and did away with the abomination of desolation. So those would be perfect timings. So December 15th through the 22nd would be the week-long ceremony, starting off with a ceremony performance of going over the prophecies and saying that you're now perfect to enter into Zion, to build Zion, peace, safety, and refuge, scripture stuff, blah, blah, blah. And if people want to get married on that day, and there can be a big mass wedding also at the same time. Because in Zion, you are perfect. And so yes, women, you got priesthood again. Got restored for you. You won't need to be any offices because everybody is in control of their own families, their own lives. So there's no church administration anymore. You are all co-equal with Christ. And so the rest of the week thereafter is having people come before the command center judgment seat and talking about the ways in which you are giving to the storehouse and being ranked as to getting your residence built, and the elderly, the physically disabled, and the single mothers go first. So don't even think that you're going to try to become my girlfriend so that you can get your place first. We're last. Don't even think about it. And it would be nice that I would have a girlfriend who would want to be a part of the ceremonial wedding that is prophesied to happen. That one's going to be a big miracle. Dear God. So anyway. And so yes, I'm going to need a lot of help to process the people in and get them all set up and design their homes and getting them checked out by the medical doctors and getting them all situated for what work they'll be doing on the building of Zion. And then people begin working. The storehouse first. So that's the intention. And we don't need to worry about a heavy snowstorm. Remember? Drought. No worries there about a freezing cold winter. Maybe rain would be problematic, but it's very vegetated out in that area. It's a national forest. And so all preserved for us by our government, who knew of that location and turned it into a federal park on purpose. So there are people who know, even though they are likely the enemy. I'd have to do more research on the president who turned it into a national park to see which Freemasonry he was a part of or from. It would have been in the 1900s, I believe. I'm not sure. I guess we could check. Since we're doing the video, since it's way past my bedtime, I need to wake up in the morning. I can't sleep in. It'll ruin things for me. But I was inspired to do this video because I don't know how urgently it needs to be done. If I procrastinate, it will never get done. Okay, we need the Wikipedia. There we go. It's a little bit over to the right. contains Little Egypt. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. There it was, 1939, September. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. But that's our land. That's why it's Little Egypt. Knights Templar. Joseph Smith's second vision. Okay. We paid for that land. It's ours. So, anyway, yeah, that's also another question. I'm concerned about the war that both Joseph Smith, Book of Mormon, and other Jewish scriptures talk about. Is even though Zion is going to be a place of peace, safety, and refuge while the rest of the world is fighting, we still have to get to Zion. And I'm concerned. I don't want to have to fight. I don't want any of you guys to fight. I will make it sure, as I am going to repeat here again, the church fell. It's false. Take off your underwear. You can wear something else if you don't want to go commando. But it has no powers. You're not bound to it. Take it off. Burn it. I don't care. But that will expose you to other people, especially when the church falls and gets found to be false. If people see you wearing the underwear after knowing that it's false as a cult group and that it fell, you're in big trouble. Take it off. Do not be caught with it on. If you have to tell people that you left that evil cult, great, you can do that. You're not lying. And you're getting away and finding a new place to live. They'll let you go and they'll think you're your best friend and whatever. So that will protect you. Not the underwear. It will not be a shield and a protection to you against the power of the destroyer until you have finished your work on this earth. Don't fall for that. It is your bondage of sexual oppression. Yoked yourself to Jesus with. So it's your straitjacket. We got everything. I think so, because that's what we're up. I got it all. Good night. I have no idea when this is going to be made. This is now 4 hours, isn't it?